I've never played Hollow Knight, or any metroidvania, for that matter. I watched this video by, I think, Selwyn. Pretty good. And I watched it without any knowledge on who Team Cherry was, what kind of the game was, what Silksong was. I've always kind of heard the names, but nothing concrete. But after watching Selwyn's video, and seeing the love they poured into it, and seeing how many people also loved what they created, it kind of sparked my interest. So after getting interested by this 40-minute video essay that I had no business watching, I whipped out the card, threw it down, and 15 bones later, Hollow Knight was installed. These are my findings after only 30 minutes of gameplay from the perspective of a fantasy author. The visuals are absolutely stunning. I mean, come on. Look at it. It's, whoa. Jeez. My balls are tingling just looking at it. It doesn't really matter how old the game is since it's hand-drawn, so it kind of always has that factor of tangibility. From the second the intro cinematic kicks off and you're following behind the knight and see his tiny little toes, dink, 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 walking, and it cuts to you plummeting and slamming into the ground with just like a satisfying crunch as you kind of land and particles kind of blow up at your feet. And like slowly, my favorite part is the slow fade in from the UI as like the healing meter kind of like like swishes around, and it subconsciously tells you that you're able to move around now without having to do like a jarring, like all of a sudden cut to third person or anything like that. I think another game that did this very well was Just Cause 3, where when you would click continue, it would just kind of zoom in to Rio and you were in the game somehow. It was like magic. It felt a lot like that. These are our chapters for today's video, if you want a little sneak peek. From the character design, to the world's architecture, to the depth of even the backgrounds, everything just breathes simultaneously, but also in its own way, so like it signifies like this world is alive and breathing almost on its own terms. Everything moves like meticulously as the devs designed it, so everything feels real. Everything feels lived in. Kind of like if you're in town and you walk into a diner, seeing how people react to you, seeing how they're interacting with their family, how waiters move, how bussers move, clean up the tables as people walk away. You see a strange synergy. You see something, a well-oiled machine moving and breathing on its own with different parts that are breathing at different intervals. But you know it's alive, you know it's working, you know it's functioning. From a writing perspective, it's a prime example of show, don't tell. Instead of being told that the world of Hallownest is empty or lonely or sad or desolate, you were thrown into the shoes of this unnamed knight and just told to go. And you just see and experience it all. You feel lonely and you feel claustrophobic and sad and dark just from existing. Not because I was told to. It's a masterclass in letting the world breathe and letting the player experience the world instead of reading it. Then when we get to the combat, there's a satisfying crunch when you actually land a strike and a screen shake that feels like you dealt heavy damage. And then the inverse, when you get hit, it feels almost painful and heartbreaking. And the way the screen dims and you feel hurt. It's disorienting and it feels weighted and real in a way that, ironically, only 2D art can convey. The simple act of walking is bizarrely haunting and eerie. The world is almost dead silent besides the rustling wind and the leaves brushing in the foreground, but your clicky boots as you walk around almost echo and reverberate off the walls and in a way that feels tight. You feel claustrophobic in Hallownest just from the sound of your footsteps. Even if you're topside, just hanging out with the merchants and the funny little guys and stuff. The merchant lady, I think her name was Estera or Itera. Kind of a bitch, not gonna lie. She could be a little better to the husband, Conifer. I think that was his name. Guy is slaving away in the mines, scribbling away, trying to get maps to be sold. Even made a sale. I bought a map from him. Down in the mines in the depths where these beastly bugs are. He is risking his life for this business. And I go to talk to her, and ladies freaking badmouthing him. What the hell is that about? But hearing this chick and her terrifying songs, hums, I don't know what you would call it, did not make me feel good. And speaking to her made me feel worse. Pretty quickly after talking to her, I ran out of there. All of these tiny interactions tell us that these people are surviving in this world. They're not thriving. All just from the sounds of their voices to their actions, what they're doing, how they interact, how they speak about each other. This world is not in a good place. All of that, and they never tell me that. It just is. It reminds me of Elden Ring, when you first wake up and you go into Limgrave for the first time. When you push open those heavy doors, the dust kicks up at your feet as it scratches across the floor. And you see the golden sentinel on his steed basically rolling down. You see the golden tree glowing above. You see animals rolling around. You feel that. And I think Hollow Knight does the same exact thing. It conveys all this information without saying words. And that's the magic of these stories, but stories as a whole. Also, the music freaking slaps. I mean, I didn't get very far, so I haven't heard a lot of the tracks, but the few that I have, whew, shit's freaking gas, bro. From the bits and pieces of dialogue that I've heard so far, they've only pulled me in deeper. Each character has a unique voice that makes me believe that they are living beasts or creatures that have histories that I'm not being told, all of which that led them to where they are now. I know that might sound obvious as like, yeah, no shit, that's what it's supposed to sound like, but as a writer, creating that is significantly harder than it seems. Because in the end, we're all using the same words, the same vocabulary, written by the same writer, but trying to make it sound as if it's coming from different people. In my head, I almost view it as like a imitation game, not the movie, in a way that in that you're trying to almost improv or pretend to be someone else, but instead of pretending, you just are that other person. Dialogue is one of my favorite things to write because it's where the character and their personality spring to life. In silence, you get a character's essence, but in dialogue, you get their true voice and who they are as a person. You get to know their wants, their wills, their motivations, anything. You get to know them. Good dialogue makes or breaks immersion in a world, because if you can't believe the people in it, then why would you trust the world itself? Also, I don't know if they're mumbling like gibberish, but it sounds sick. Let's define atmosphere first, because there seems to be a lot, according to our boy Miriam. Let's see, The gaseous envelope of a celestial body is planet, the whole mass of air surrounding the Earth, the air locality, the surrounding influence of our environment, and even near the pressure equal to the pressure of the air, sea level, approximately 40.7 pounds per square inch. The overall aesthetic effect of a work of art, okay, an intriguing or singular tone, effect, or appeal. In with atmosphere. There we are. Boom. Okay, cool. The overall effect I'd attribute to Hollow Knight so far is haunting, claustrophobic, scary, sad, depressing, eerie, lonely, even strangely heroic in a way that I want to save Hallownest from whatever darkness it's kind of enveloped by. Any and all of the above. Ironically, I feel hollow in Hallownest. You see what I did there? That shit's all improv, man. Didn't even write that down in the script. Dang, I don't know why I hit a peace sign on you though. Hollow Knight's atmosphere is the game's bread and butter alongside everything else. It seems to be a masterclass in literally everything. Thick is the word that comes to mind. Like when an argument at the dinner table at Thanksgiving between two people that neither of you really want to hear talking, but they're arguing anyway, that awkward uncomfortability that causes for the table, that's the kind of feeling, that thick tension. That's the feeling that Hollow Knight gives me when I'm playing it. Like a pit in my stomach. Or like I'm underwater, desperately needing another breath, trying to get to the surface, but we're just not there yet. That's at least how I felt the entire time I played so far. And I mean, hell, get a load of this guy. It's a freaking bug taxi, man. 30 minutes is not a lot of time. It's actually like no time at all. But still, this game showed me something that I didn't think was possible. It showed me that a 2D metroidvania could hook me in a way that I wanted but did not expect. One of the reasons I love video games is because I love stories, and because of that, obviously, I became a writer. And video games do something that books just can't. They put you in a fantastical setting or world without the use or need for your imagination. It's simply visual, it is there, like watching a movie, except you're in it. And that's a magic that can't be replaced. Instead of being inside the character's head along for the ride, you're in the character's shoes, dictating the ride. Books are my first love, and nothing's ever going to change that. But if these 30 minutes are anything to go off of, this game is pretty freaking cool, bro. And after playing a little bit of it, I get why it sold over 15 million copies and people were freaking out over Silk Song for so long. From the wind swaying through the grass, to your footsteps pitter-pattering across the stone, to the crunch of your sword against some bug beast's head, to the crunch of some bite on your head, or the whispers of a miner, or the words of a cartographer, or his really angry wife. Someone's gotta check on Conifer. All with beautiful music beneath it all. It all just adds to a greater whole. A whole that is unmistakably unforgettable. And Hallownest is one of those worlds. I could definitively say it even after 30 minutes. Suck it. Cheers to 30 minutes and beyond, boys.